How's it going, you guys? AZ Plyo 21 back again with another episode of our UFC Save, UFC Reborn in WMMA 5. And here today we have UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Spivac, a heavyweight main event here today. Remember the last time that I saw you guys was for UFC on ABC Holloway versus Korean Zombie, where the Korean Zombie actually beat Max Holloway in our main event. It was a very good card. Dominic Reyes getting a much needed win. Gastelum on the winning column. Rob Font beating Dominic Cruz. Nick Diaz beating Robbie Lawler in their rematch. So a lot of stuff going on. Volkov and Spivac here today. Our next episode is going to be a big one. UFC 291, Jones versus Miocic for the heavyweight championship. Also got Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. Alex Pereira and Jan Blachowicz. Wonderboy versus Shavkat. And Emmett versus Allen as well. That should be a great card. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch. Be sure to leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And leave a comment. Let me know what you are thinking. Let's get right down to it. UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Spivac, live from Connecticut, Bristol, Connecticut. The ESPN headquarters, more than likely. As we get right into it with our prelims, Daniel Marcos taking on Aaron Phillips at the bantamweight division, and it's a knockout. Great way to start out the night. A fantastic fight as Aaron Phillips gets a knockout win over Daniel Marcos here today, giving him his first loss. Love to see it. Mateusz Mendonczka taking on Toshiomi Kazama at bantamweight, and it is Mendonczka getting the win, 11th win of his career. Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Roman Kopylov at middleweight, and it is Duncan staying undefeated at 9-0 with the win over the Russian here today. Claire Guthrie taking on Tainara Lisboa in the bantamweight division. A couple of girls with 5 wins to their name, and it's going to be Guthrie who goes 6-3 here today with the unanimous decision victory. Bruno Ferreira taking on Albert Duraev at 185. Ferreira is undefeated at 10-0. And he is going to claim his first loss of his career as he takes a loss to Albert Duraev via a submission in round number 1. Rodrigo Nascimento taking on Jailton Almeida at heavyweight. Almeida, kind of an undersized heavyweight, but he does lose to Nascimento here today. 10th win for Rodrigo in his career. And main card underway, Brad Tavares taking on Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Both fighters ranked at middleweight. And it is Abdul Razak Al Hassan getting the TKO victory here in round number 1. He was actually not ranked, but I imagine he will be after beating Brad Tavares here today. Arman Tsarukyan taking on Drew Dober. And what I would love to see, this would be a great fight to see. Drew Dober ranked at number 11 in the lightweight division, Tsarukyan at number 10. This is a great fight, as a matter of fact, as Drew Dober beats the prospect in Tsarukyan within 2 minutes of round number 1. You gotta love the thick thighs of Drew Dober. Everyone always talks about how big his thighs are and how much power he has in those leg kicks and punches of his. Dan Ige taking on Giga Chikadze. This is a good fight as well at 145. Dan Ige, great fighter in his own right, as he is going to lose to Giga Chikadze in a fantastic fight. TKO round number 2 for the Giga Chad. 8-1 now in his UFC career, only losing to Calvin Kattar. Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Clay Guida. Couple of big veterans going at it at 155. Former champion in Dos Anjos gets the submission victory in round number 1. You can see 22nd UFC victory for Rafael Dos Anjos as he gets the win over Brian Barberena. And now a big win over Clay Guida for RDA. And now Chris Weidman taking on Jack the Joker Hermanson in our co-main event here in the middleweight division. Chris Weidman coming right back to action. And in real life, I believe he's actually coming back. And he said the first thing he wants to do is throw a huge leg kick. So good luck with that. Jack Hermanson 10-6, looking like Lucius Varenas from the show Rome. Roman Dolidze, his last loss, ironically enough. Chris Weidman 12-6 in the UFC. The last time we saw him was when he shattered his leg against the leg of Uriah Hall. In our co-main event, it is Jack Hermanson who gets the victory over the former champion via unanimous decision here today. And our main event about to be underway, Alexander Drago Volkov. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. Rosenstruik and Romanov. He's doing pretty well for himself. He takes on Sergei Spivac, who's on a nice 3-fight winning streak. Greg Hardy, Augusto Sakai, and Derek Lewis. Spivac looking to get it done. He's in the top 10 already, looking to climb even further in our main events. Russia versus Ukraine. Maybe some unfinished business. I hate geopolitical bullshit like that, but it's a Russian versus a Ukrainian guy. As our first round gets underway, underhooks here for Spivac, the Sambo fighter. Referee brings him back to center. Spivac looking for a takedown. He can't get it. Pushing him up against the cage. Wearing him down. 1.5 minutes left to go. Hard foot stomp for Spivac. And the round 1 comes to a close. And it's going to go to Spivac. So he is up by 1 round, it would seem. Spivac going for a takedown. He can't get it, but he drives him up against the cage. Another foot stomp. You love to see it. A little dirty boxing going on. Wearing him out as he has him up against the cage. Herb Dean brings him back to the center. Can't get it. And he's going to push him up against the cage. You can see there's a strategy here for the polar bear. As the second round is going to come to a close. And Spivac has been in full control for both rounds. And, I mean, he can do the exact same as Spivac has been cut from a punch from Volkov. And what do you know? He's going to drive him up against the cage. Not much going on as he gets another foot stomp. Exchange some short punches. Smothered up against the cage is Volkov. Spivac might be getting a little bit tired. Unable to get a takedown. Pushes him up against the cage. Crazy. Another takedown attempt. He can't get it. What is he going to do? Referee Herb Dean is going to pause the fight. They were looking at the cut on Spivac. And apparently it was fine. So that's the third round over. And 3-0 Spivac. As long as that cut stays decent, he just keeps doing this, he's going to win the fight. Spivac going for a takedown. He finally gets one in round number 4. And I'd imagine he's just going to stay in his guard and just fire away little punches. Can't land any significant blows. Side control. Spivac throwing a few strikes. Under a minute in round number 4. Spivac in firm control of Volkov here today. Time runs out in round number 4. And it's going to be 4-0 Spivac. Drago needs something now. And man, he gets a takedown immediately. Second takedown of the fight. And that might be it here for Drago. Getting a little tired here, but it's not going to matter if he's on top of him. Oh man, Spivac blocks an attempt to pull guard. Trying to transition over to guard. And this fight is basically over. Sergei Spivac is going to take this one. Not a very, very exciting fight, ladies and gentlemen. But it does look like the judges' scores are being announced. All score at 50-45. Sergei the Polar Bear Spivac, in what's rated as a good fight, is going to take it, winning all 5 rounds in dominant fashion over Alexander Volkov. Gives a good show of respect to his opponent, and he is our winner in our main event here tonight. A little under 1,800 in attendance in Connecticut. Not the best commercial ratings or anything like that. We don't lose any fans or anything like that, though. Any fantastic fights? Absolutely. Aaron Phillips and Daniel Marcos had themselves a great fight. And then let's see. Performance bonus for Mendonchka. Christian Leroy Duncan will give him a performance bonus. And that'll be it. Yeah, Drew Dober can have one as well. End up losing a good $1 million. That's because we're paying guys like RDA and Chris Weidman an obscene amount of money. Chris Weidman losing, by the way. We end up losing quite a bit of money, but that's okay. This is just the name of the game. As a reminder, the next time that I do see you guys will be for the next pay-per-view. John Jones taking on Stipe Miocic defending the heavyweight championship. I'm AZ Plyo 21, and I will see you guys at the fights.